today. For those of you who may not know all that we do at Wake County Smart Start and who we are the leading early childhood agency helping families access much needed programs over a range of areas. And ultimately what we do is we leverage our connections to make system-wide improvements. And one of those areas is improving the quality of child care centers in our county and supporting higher compensation for early educators at privately owned centers to increase teacher retention. So I say that to say that we are keenly aware of the early childhood workforce challenges that peaked to really a crisis level during the pandemic. And Wake County Smart Start has been in conversations with many of you on this call and others to really understand how we, in our role as convener, advocate, supporter, can help move this particular, mitigate the challenges that this situation presents to us in our county. The first thing we did after conversations with you is we worked with the Wake County commissioners alongside our partners at Wake Ed Partnership and Superintendent Kathy Moore, who were allies with us on this. And we helped the county commissioners understand the crisis level where we are and the importance of communicating how we value the professionalism of early childhood, the teachers and all of those who invest in our young children. The county commissioners immediately understood, and I'm pleased to share with you that at the beginning of July, they increased the funding for Wake County Smart Start such that we could bring teachers in pre-K classrooms in private centers and pay parity with pre-K teachers, NC pre-K teachers in the public schools. So that was really the current action that we have taken to address and mitigate the circumstances that we are facing. And so what brings us here today? Today, we are revisiting our efforts that began in 2018, because we know our work didn't stop with the work that we did with the county commissioners. We are revisiting work that began in 2018 with Wake County Public Schools and Wake Technical Community College. And now we have another partner in this work with us through the state. Really what we want to do is help build up the apprenticeship program here in Wake County. We have a program that's available to those of us in Wake County, and currently we don't have anyone enrolled in early childhood apprenticeships. And we know that there's a great opportunity to bring those resources to you, the providers of the community. And so we are going to turn this conversation over to our partners at Wake Technical Community College and Wake County Public Schools to share with you what is available to you, this opportunity. We're hoping that you will have questions and have an interest in this and an interest in becoming an early adopter of this opportunity. And so again, I welcome you all, and I look forward to what we can bring online together here in Wake County to address the concerns that you have for your for workforce concerns and ultimately in service of children, families, and our community. Lynn, I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Gail. Thanks for that overview. And exactly, I mean, we're just hoping to bring people together and share what, like you said, like there are things that are already here and just not being used. So like, how can we, leverage that? So I'm going to let John start. If you don't mind, John, and I did make you co-host. So if you want to share your slides.
Great. Can everyone hear me?
Yes. Thanks, John.
Excellent. Good. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me come by to explain a little bit about apprenticeships in general, and then a little bit more about WakeWorks apprenticeship programs that we have here sponsored at Wake Tech. And I think it's great that, if I could just talk a little bit about that, and then Joe Honeycutt come in right under me as we say that, we talk about youth apprenticeship. We shouldn't just focus on one or the other, because apprenticeship is for folks of all ages. So you can have somebody who's still in high school actually become a youth apprentice, a pre-apprentice, and then someone who's pivoting in their life who would like to become an apprentice later on in life. So no restrictions basically other than a high school diploma. And that is pretty much it. So I just want to go through what makes up an apprenticeship program so that we all can understand a little bit of the exactly what when I say apprenticeship, what it actually means. So what can you see? Can you see my presentation? Am I presenting a slide?
Yes, it's not in the regular mode yet though.
There, is it in the regular
mode? It is, yeah. Great,
okay.
Perfect. Thanks, John.
You're welcome. Okay, so basically WakeWorks, besides being an apprenticeship program, is a little bit different than other apprenticeship programs you'll find in the state of North Carolina. That is because of Wake County and the Board of Commissioners, who were looking to establish a work-based learning, if you will, job skill training opportunity for the citizens of Wake County and also the businesses in Wake County, in order to get those who haven't been able to participate in the elevator going up on economic mobility. So this all came about back in 2019, prior to the pandemic, when actually, you're going to laugh, unemployment rates were actually higher than they currently are now. So unemployment rates are actually lower post-pandemic, and creating all sorts of havoc for our local businesses here looking to employ and fill those jobs that need to be filled. So WakeWorks was started in the spring of 2020. We coined that as our phrase around the ability to provide that job training. Dr. Scott Rawls, who's our president at Wake Tech Community College, is a huge proponent of work-based learning, and he feels that the gold standard is apprenticeships. We have an extraordinary opportunity here to offer our students who become apprentices, and in some cases who are pre-apprentices, to have their most of their financial barrier removed, meaning tuition, books, registration fees, etc., through the funding through Wake County. I really should update this slide because we have so many occupations now underneath our umbrella. We are a sponsor of registered apprenticeship programs here through Apprenticeship NC and the USDOL. So all of our apprenticeship programs end and culminate with a journey worker certificate from the USDOL. So beyond automotive, EMT, telecommunications, we have the traditional trade skills, skilled trades that we have for plumbing and carpentry, electrician, HVAC, but we're now into medical assisting and looking at pharmacy tech, and hopefully we're going to do something in early childhood development under childcare. I would love to see us add that to the program. So for all of our students and a lot of times the businesses that we work with, the WakeWorks funding is a huge barrier removal, as I said, not just to the students, but also in some cases to businesses who were footing the bill for their employees to go back to school to get the trade skills that they needed. So a lot of times companies would have their own apprenticeship program and they would use Wake Tech for the classroom training and the lab training. Now that we have our own sponsorship, we're able to provide students that are in pre-apprenticeships, actually prepping them to go out into the workplace to become apprentices. So a little bit of a different model than it has been in the past. Everybody loves to use the phrase, you earn while you learn, meaning you're actually working while you're going to school here at Wake Tech. You've got a job and you are earning a paycheck, which is really important to a lot of our students here who really can't afford to not work while they're going to Wake Tech to get upskilled. So it's important that the apprenticeship has that opportunity to earn a paycheck while you're learning at Wake Tech. You grow professionally by actually being out in the field. There's no better place to learn about your career and the career path you've chosen than to actually be out in the workplace, working side by side with your peers and colleagues who are enjoying the same career path that you've chosen. And then build a long-term career. So meaning, you know, the work that I'm doing now is directly related to the education that I'm getting at Wake Tech. So no matter what it is, as far as an apprenticeship, it is absolutely core training to the core job skills that you're going to need in this career path. So here's a bit of an updated visual for everyone. These are most of our current apprenticeship opportunities, the occupation career paths that we have. So it goes across anywhere from accounting, culinary arts, into those traditional skilled trades, and some of the engineering areas as well. So civil engineering, such as surveying, project management. So we have really been able to expand our program, which started probably 10, 15 years ago with 3 particular occupations, which were carpentry, HVAC, and electrician. We've grown our program significantly. Thank you to all of the businesses in Wake County that are driving this program and their needs for skilled trade employees. As I said, the WakeWorks apprenticeship program is significantly different than a lot of others. We offer free tuition, free books, fees, and toolkits in those cases where it's a skilled trade. We do provide a toolkit up to $600. So that is available for our pre-apprentices and our registered apprentices. We also have wraparound, thanks to a company called Credit Suisse. We have wraparound services that we provide to all of our student apprentices. We have career coach support, which is extremely important because, as we all know, life happens. And a lot of times the first thing to go would be your training. You want to kind of leave your training because you've got other things in life that are more important. If there's things that we can do, if we can provide some barrier removal funds to help the students stay engaged in their classwork as well as on the job, we have that available for one-offs. We also have hiring events for our pre-apprentices and any students who want to be apprentices. We actually bring companies on campus and allow them to interview any of our students who are interested in following an apprenticeship career path. We always help them, obviously, when we're navigating through Wake Tech. We provide the course outline, enrollment timelines, so that our apprentices are sure to get into the classes that they need them when they need them. So that's part of the navigation of the WakeWorks, and our career coaches handle that as well. And then any program prereqs, sometimes we find that our students might have been out of school for a while, or even just coming out of high school. They may need a little refresher on math and English. So technical English and math for skilled technologies, typically, just to make sure that they're capable of being effective and productive in the workplace. And then, as I said, we do hiring events a couple times a year, usually in the spring and the fall. We have an offering with those interested companies that are participating with us. And we're currently up to about 90 different companies in Wake County that we're working with that provide these apprenticeship opportunities. We have them meet with our students. It's not a career fair. It's actually a brief meet and greet, if you will, interview. That's usually 20 to 30 minutes long for our students. And a lot of times students get job offers right at our hiring events. And then one area that we really would like to kick off and really start to grow is our pre-apprenticeships and youth apprenticeships. And pre-apprenticeships are nothing more than students or folks that are taking the related technical instruction or the classroom instruction. So they already decided, I want this career path. I want the opportunity to be an apprentice and earn as I learn. So I am enrolling as a pre-apprentice. And then when I get hired by a company that is sponsoring our apprenticeship, then I become an apprentice and I can be registered as an apprentice with the USDOL. So we are always looking to develop that. We are offering currently, some of the high schools here in Wake County offer what is called the National Construction Center for Education and Research. We actually have classes going on in the high schools as well as classes here at Wake Tech. And those are for non-credit students who are looking to get certifications in the skilled trades. So we want to bridge the gap between the high school students and our students here at Wake Tech. And then we want to create opportunities for high school seniors to either be a pre-apprentice or an apprentice still while they're at high school. So we know they can't work full-time jobs. They need to complete their studies in high school, but give them that opportunity to be a pre-apprentice. And if they do get hired with 120 days of graduation as an apprentice, North Carolina actually waives the tuition for community college. So that's another opportunity that we need to work on. And then any new program developments, obviously, this would be a brand new program for us to develop in the early childhood and childcare. So I think that is it for me, which it is. Do we have any questions about apprenticeship or anything that was presented?
Well, John, I do know that we're going to do some little Q&A at the end, just kind of about this whole, proposal that we're looking at. So, I mean, not that we're not open to questions now if anybody has anything specific for John, but we will have that time at the end.
Yeah, and I know that it's a lot of information in a really short time. And, how does it directly relate to the opportunity we have here? So yeah, that's fine, because sometimes it's hard to relate exactly how it would work within the childcare and early childhood education area. So
I have a quick question. What does the NCCER stand for again for the high school courses? I was trying to write it down.
So that's the National Center for Construction, Education, and Research. And all of our staff here at Wake Tech that teach those classes, that curriculum, are certified by NCCR. It's a nationally recognized certification for skilled trades. It's also, I think it's at 6 high schools in Wake County that also have the same classes with the certified trainers or instructors and they also provide their certificates. So if you're taking it in high school, you're going to jump into Wake Tech ahead of the rest of the people just coming off of the street, because you'll probably jump into a level 1 or level 2 class, and it's 4 levels in the skilled trades. And then you'll get a professional craftsman certificate at the end of your 4 years, along with your journey worker certificate. And a lot of the companies really, really like seeing nationally recognized certifications for their employees.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and let Joanne start, and we're gonna build on that. So we'll have some more conversation after she tells us more about her program.
Great. Thank you, Lynn. I apologize. I really thought I was going to have a camera, but I don't know, Zoom on a Wake County computer, either you get sound or you get video. You hardly ever get them both. So today it's sound. So forgive me. I've tried to get the camera to work and it's just not going to happen for me today. But we appreciate the opportunity to be here. And I know you're sitting there, you might be thinking to yourself, I have no idea why I'm here. I've not heard yet what's in it for me and how this might connect to early childhood. So I'm going to try to make some of those connections for you, but I'm going to do that by starting with an overview of what's happening in a number of our high schools. Some of you may already work with our early childhood education programs in high schools. You may have connections with career and technical education teachers who bring a group of students or a few students to your center for their internship hours as part of that class instruction. We offer that program in about 16 of our comprehensive high schools, and those classes have, I don't know, 10 to 15 students each in those classes. So a student who has career interest in early childhood education would take a child development course, and then they would take our early childhood education 1 and maybe early childhood education 2 courses. And at the end of that, they are able to have the lead teacher equivalency from the state. Our curriculum aligns with that lead teacher certification and also with the EDU 119 course that's offered at the community college. So we have programs that start a pipeline of students to careers in early childhood education. What I think we have real opportunity to do is take that pipeline that we're starting and connect it with where you have vacancies and opportunities for workers in your centers. And if we make that connecting fabric, the apprenticeship program, there are lots of benefits to the students, and there are lots of benefits to you and your centers, we believe. So as John mentioned, a student who is enrolled in an educational program and who is employed in an apprenticeable occupation, which lead teacher or child care teacher would be an apprenticeable occupation. Then we can start building these benefits out and they can start receiving these benefits. So a student would have that coursework, you would know who the student was, you could decide this student, Joanne Honeycutt, is a great fit for my center. I would like to hire her and continue to employ her. If I'm registered as an apprentice, you agree to the apprenticeship rules and programs and education and training. And then I get afforded the opportunity to work while I learn, to earn and learn, as John said. My tuition at the community college is going to be waived for the courses that allow me to complete my education degree or my training with the community college. You get a worker that you're able to have graduated wages for under the apprenticeship guidelines. And while they're working for you, you are continuing to train them in the way that your center runs, in the way that you want teachers to interact with your students and families. So It is a way for students to matriculate through the education, training, and work in early childhood education at virtually no cost to them. And it provides you with workers who have the required training and background. So from our standpoint, we think it's a win-win. We just need some matching to make it work. And we're at a unique opportunity. As Gail mentioned, we started these conversations back in 2018, pre-pandemic, and had a lot of great conversation at that time. But with the pandemic, everything got stalled for sure. But today, making the program even more compelling for us as a talent pipeline kind of system are some grant funds that the North Carolina Business Committee for Education, NCBCE, I have to do the letters every time, has been able to procure that gives some additional support and wraparound, not just for the students, in particular the high school students, but also for you all as child care centers. So I have dropped a link in the chat to, I uploaded a PDF from, and I think Morgan is on the call. I thought I saw Morgan on the call. So she works with NCBCE and is the expert in this grant. I'm just probably saying enough to get it really messed up. But this flyer gives you some ideas of the details about the grant that, again, I think make this a really compelling time for us to come together as a system and see what we can do to help with the talent pipeline and the training. So some of the benefits on that flyer, you'll see there's some opportunity for you as operators to have some advantage in wage support for the apprentices. There are additional programs for the high school students around career preparation, awareness, how they connect with lots of professionals in the industry in this particular sector. And then one of the barriers sometimes for some of our students who want to have jobs is their ability to have transportation to and from that. And so this grant from NCBCE also gives the opportunity for students to have support in some of those wraparound services, such as transportation to go back and forth. So I'll stop there. I do see Morgan now. It took me a minute to find you in my little screen, Morgan. If I screwed that up really bad, I hope that she will correct anything I said, but I hope I've given you an overview of kind of how all these pieces might fit together for us to work together.
Yes, Joanne, you did a good job. Hi, I'm Morgan Ford, excuse me, from NCBCE. And yes, we did just receive a grant from DHHS to support pre-apprentices and apprentices in early childhood. And Joanne did a great job explaining, a lot of the advantages and to the student. But again, as she said, we do also have funds and opportunities for child care center directors and workers as well. She mentioned we can match 50% of the pre-apprentice or apprenticeship wage. We can also, yes, help students with transportation. These funds can cover basically anything for the pre-apprentice, apprentice, or child care center to fill in those holes where other places aren't doing it. For example, if you have an apprentice who's at Wake Tech and they're helping out with a lot of stuff, but maybe they need help with transportation, or maybe you want to take your apprentices on a field trip to go see another child care center, to go to the Frank Porter Graham Center, things like that, then we can help you with funds and guidance for that. So just reach out if you have any questions. My contact information is on that flyer, and we can help connect some of your child care centers to some of the students. We can help organize those extra things for you if you're interested. Yes, there's my contact information. Thanks.
Thanks, Morgan. I appreciate that. Yeah, sharing a little bit more in detail about where the funding's coming from and all these opportunities. It's just a kind of a perfect timing for all of this, and really the opportunity to be able to support this field is again just coming together at the right time. So we want to open this up. I am going to put in the chat an interest form. So if this is something, I mean, the point of today was for you guys to learn a little bit more about what some of the opportunities are, and we're trying to formalize this a little bit. But we're also looking for sites and that are interested in being able to have apprentices at their location. So that's kind of the point of today, is like, are there even people who are interested in this? And so it's just a short little form, and then we can kind of filter through and see like where people are located and who's interested in the first place. So I'm gonna pop that in the chat in just a second. But I did want to clarify, because and I know people said this, but I do want to clarify that we're really looking at supporting not only just, people that are in high school and moving forward, but also some of our current employees that are looking to go back to school. So that is kind of what we're trying to solve, and kind of create a solution for both of those. We need to create these staff that have the qualities, and that might be starting in the school, but we also have some that are there that are working that need some support now. So we want to be able to do both. I really am, we're going to open this up. And so you're more than welcome to unmute yourself, or just put a question in the chat, and I'm not going to promise we can answer everything today, but we will definitely try. Or if not, we'll get the answer for you soon.
And Lynn, it will also support if you know of any other adults, like somebody that lost their job and or somebody interested in early childhood but does not know how to go about it. So please spread the word. It applies to all.
That's true. Just to speak up, as Lynn said, too, not just students who are taking the class right now, but if you have, like she said, workers in your child care center who are interested in going back to school, or someone a friend, anyone who has absolutely no experience in it, but is interested in pursuing it, it's open to everyone.
So are you saying that current staff that are enrolled in the program can get these supports?
They can, yes. And the program is twofold. So they would be working and they would be pursuing their education at the same time.
And so will they also, I'm sorry, will they also qualify, or would the center also qualify for the incentives in regards to supporting their pay?
Anyone who is signed up as a pre-apprentice, a registered pre-apprentice, or an apprentice is eligible for the funds. And so they can, if they've never done it before, your child care worker if they want to sign up for the program, they're eligible.
And last question. So currently, this is already in effect, and centers that are interested in participating can start immediately?
Joanne, do you want to answer that?
So, and I'm going to defer to John also. So the first step is to create, to go through the formal process of creating a registered apprenticeship program. John at Wake Tech has offered to be the sponsor for that and to take the lead on that for this group. There are some models already that exist in the state. So as a small team who has discussed this, we don't think that's a heavy lift. But as soon as the apprenticeship program is registered, then all of these other benefits can come underneath that. John, did I say that right?
Yes, thank you, Joe. That is absolutely correct. So there's a couple pathways we can do. Once we have a registered apprenticeship program for this particular occupation, we can take incumbent workers and get them started through the program. We can also advertise, if you will, or communicate that this program is available and open to all, and we will have a pathway that is very clear, because we'll write out what the pathway is, and we'll make it clear that, you know, part of it is taking the related technical instruction at Wake Tech, and the other part is actually having the job and getting the on-the-job learning. So what we need to create, and we probably will have to do with each one of you, is a competency checklist, because I think it was either Joe, I think Joe said it's very customizable. It's to really train the apprentices to be your employees. So there may be different things that you do at your place of work versus someone else. So we'll need a competency checklist. We're going to come up with a progressive wage scale. So we'll have to come up with a starting wage and an interim wage. We have to decide on what is the level of related technical instruction that we want to have. Because Wake Tech and we have Dean Lassiter on this call as well from this department. We have a diploma and we have a 2-year degree as well. So that I typically leave that up to the employers as to what is the educational level that you're going to need your employees to have in order to be a successful and productive worker for the many years to come. So Joe, you did say it correctly. So then those who are not hired but are in the program are called pre-apprentices, and we register them through Apprenticeship NC. If they're in high school, like you said, and they are registered as pre-apprentices in high school and get a job as an apprentice within 120 days of graduation, they are eligible for the North Carolina Youth Apprenticeship Waiver, and that will be paid for the rest of their tuition and their education. And then if they're not, we've got Wake Works funding as well. So when you become a Wake Works apprentice, we're going to pick up your tuition as well. So no matter which way you go, we're going to remove that educational finance barrier. And then, as Morgan was saying, there's even more goodies at the bottom of the barrel here for helping with the on-the-job learning costs that you might incur for these apprentices. So a lot to gain, really nothing to lose, in my opinion.
So Kim, thank you for your question. And the only thing I would add to that is we have the partnerships in place for funding of the apprenticeship and the classroom instruction. What we really need at this point are providers who are employers, so that those who would be interested as the student in the apprenticeship would have a place to learn and work. And so that's why we're having this conversation with you as providers, because we think that this is a fantastic opportunity. And at this time in particular, there are so many other incentives that would make this something that would be of interest to providers, whether you're a center-based or home-based childcare environment.
There's a couple of questions. I want to make sure that we get to those as well that are in the chat. So if teachers are already enrolled in the TEACH program, are they eligible for this program or ineligible for this program?
This is Morgan Ford. As long as they are pursuing early childhood education, it does not matter if they are getting funding through other sources. So our requirement is that they are a registered pre-apprentice or apprentice, and that they are pursuing early childhood education.
So just for clarification, they can get the money for TEACH and get the money for apprenticeship.
Yes.
Thank you, Morgan and Carol. Okay, so another question is the training for a certificate, associates, or some other degree?
So that is what John was referring to in terms of each So at the pre-apprenticeship level, that covers the high school level class and associated related instruction and required trainings. At the apprenticeship level, that is a decision, as John said, whether you want to have the requirement be the diploma level or the associate's degree level. That's a decision that you can make as part of the apprenticeship plan.
So it's important to remember that apprenticeship programs require a combination of classroom-based education and on-the-job training. And there are hours that we will want to tease through and think about what those programs look like. And as John mentioned, you also have the competency checklist that allows you to assess mastery of certain skills for your apprentices as they continue through the program. So it could be any of those, as long as we are also meeting the classroom and OJT hour requirements. One of the things that's really unique about early childhood in North Carolina today is that there are lots of articulation agreements that allow employees to matriculate through that education system with little or no cost. So a student coming out of high school who is registered as an apprentice, John has already shared with you, would have tuition waived at Wake Tech to complete an associate's degree. And there are articulation agreements in place that take that associate's degree to a university. And some of them that have special tuition waivers. So a student, would have tuition at the university to complete that 4-year degree, as a few $100s. So I think while the answer is it depends on what you want to do and what your needs are, there are definitely benefits and pathways to matriculate all the way through that educational system.
Thank you, Joanne. And actually, this next question I think might be a little bit for you too. And Veronica, please let me know if I'm not saying it just right. Veronica actually said that she's already collaborating with the high school for the students in the EDU 119. So Joanne, if you could explain just a little bit, like, how that's different than what we're talking about here.
So Veronica, first of all, thank you for doing that. We appreciate that very much. And so these would be the very students that you might want to consider for pre-apprenticeship and employment with your center. So those early childhood students come to your center, and maybe of the 10 that are there periodically, there are 2 or 3 that you would say, I really want these students to be my employees, and those students really want to be early child care workers. Then you might say, come and work for me outside of the class, and we'll get you registered as a pre-apprentice. And at the point that you employ them as a pre-apprentice, then all the benefits to them, to the students that we've talked about, open up, and all the benefits that we've talked about under the grant that Morgan mentioned also open up. So definitely that's just part of the pipeline. Veronica, I can't hear you. I can see you're trying to talk, but I don't hear you.
Oh, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yes, thank you. Okay. It's just that I have some questions because mine are high schoolers. I've never been able to honestly get anybody from Wake Tech or from any of the Central Carolina, any of other community colleges that have EDU or early childhood as a program. This is like really honestly the first time I hear from anybody. But for my high schoolers, obviously they are under 16, some of them, or barely 16. So is that okay? Because I have my rules with their teacher about like where they can be, at what times they can be. And it's not like every day, obviously, that they are here. And I offered a paid apprenticeship, and it was not taken because of whatever rules from Wake County, which I think are here too in this meeting. So how would this work? Because right now it's like a limited thing. They come here, they're learning. I really just want to encourage them to pursue early childhood education, because as we all know, there's no one trying to enter this field, it seems. So part of the way that I pay is like I paid for all their CPR training, all the whole class, so they could start working with me. And I know they're being sent to other daycares around here.
So the minimum age is 16 to be a pre-apprentice or an apprentice, 16 years old.
I'm sorry?
16,
Okay.
16 years old. That is the minimum age.
That's the age that we have.
There you go.
Mhm. But I thought there was something about like they have to, in order to be like actually paid or considered employees, they have to have high school. Wasn't that a requirement? So these guys are still in high school.
Right. So they're youth apprentices, and there's rules for youth apprentices. They need parental permission as well. So there are specific rules around youth apprenticeship.
Okay, because we have the parental permission as if they were to be employed, but they're not employees. They're not getting paid for anything.
That's correct, because what the work you're doing with them now is part of that course. And so we don't expect that as part of the course. We're just trying to get them that clinical experience. But at the end of that course, they would have the equivalent of the lead teacher certification, the EDU 119. So I think maybe one of the questions, and because this is not my field of expertise, but maybe Gail or Lynn, you all as operators would know better about the age at which you could leave an employee with a class of students at your site. I think that's maybe a rule or question outside of what is allowable under the apprenticeship. It's allowable in terms of apprenticeship, but we would want to make sure that we're not making any conflict with other rules.
Yeah,
So
thank you for bringing that up. Like, I think there's still little things that we need to work through, but I mean, but what we want to do is tap into these kids that are in high school that are interested, and then build on that. So like maybe they come out or their senior year, they're able to work through this program, maybe not like when they first start high school, but like their junior and senior year when they meet those the age requirements as well.
Yeah, but they can start though. They can start, and then they cannot be left by themselves in the classroom.
That's correct, not until they're 18.
Until they're 18, yes. So they can start. So by the time they're turning 18, if this is an area, because the whole idea is to catch them when they're young, if this is what they really want to do, and by the time they're turning 18, they're fully trained and can go into the classrooms.
I see Cassandra Brooks. Cassandra, I see your hand.
Hi, good afternoon. I had a question for John. I know you had mentioned the incumbent workers, and I wanted to ask how would that fit into, I guess, this whole program, and would there be any wages support for the incumbent worker like in other states?
I think you want to ask Morgan that question, because with apprenticeship, we don't have any help there, unfortunately.
Sure. So if the incumbent worker does sign up as part of the registered apprenticeship program, then that you will get wage support for them. So again, as far as we're concerned, as long as the person is signed up to be a registered pre-apprentice or apprentice in early childhood education, they are eligible for our benefits.
Okay.
So between Wake County and Wake Tech, they will create, their rules for pre-apprentices and apprentices, but from our perspective, that's what we require.
Gotcha. And so just to confirm with the application process, would it be a different application process to take advantage of that, or would it just be still under the link that was dropped in the chat?
So what you would do is, yes, you would sign up through Apprenticeship NC, who does these with Wake County and Wake Tech, and then if you wanted to take advantage of our benefits, you could contact us, and we have a much simpler process. We have a commitment letter that we'd like you to sign. And as far as getting the funds, we ask that you give us an estimate of hours for each person. So we would probably be giving you stipends for those, and we would keep track of that monthly, or it's on this is a pilot program. I'm not sure we said that, but this is a pilot program. We're trying lots of different things with different people all over the state. So we're going to work through a couple of different options, whether it's you pay for it and we reimburse you, or maybe we create something for you and pay for it that you use. So a variety of means.
And Cassandra, what I would add to that is this is a particularly good time to participate, because the money available through the North Carolina Business Committee on Education is available through December of 2024. And so that employer support up to 50% of the apprentice's wages, up to, I believe it's like $17 an hour or so, it has a shelf life. And so this would help you get started for anyone that you would be interested in bringing online now. And I also see a question in the chat about timeline. And so I will ask Lynn and Carol to respond to that question.
And I just want to confirm, I know we help the incumbent worker, and thank you for clarifying that timeline, Gail. Now, but it will not apply to current employees, the wage support for the current employees.
If they are enrolled in, it is eligible, I'm sorry. The eligibility applies to anyone who is enrolled in the apprenticeship. They can be a current employee of yours.
Okay.
Enrolled in the apprenticeship.
Okay.
Then they qualify, and you as the employer would qualify for the supplemental supports coming through NCBCE.
Okay.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good job with all the acronyms. I will say, I mean, this is a tentative goal, and I know, and please correct me, our whole group, if I'm totally off on this, but we did talk about a timeline of being potentially ready for summer sessions. And so I know that's a quick push, and it kind of depends on so pulling things together, but that is our goal. And today, again, our goal was to see how many people were interested, and I love that there's so much interest and need, and again, hopefully this will, get us connected and moving in the right direction. So, I mean, I guess what we're saying is we want it quicker than later. And so that's our goal right now, is to get it out there, because we know the need is there right now.
I have a question, and maybe someone can help. We never get to hear about the numbers in the surrounding colleges, community colleges that are enrolled in ECE programs. Do we have some ballpark numbers of participants or recruitment for the field?
I don't, but it's something we can check in with them to verify. Go ahead, Catherine.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, yes, as a matter of fact, I do have some, I mean, I've got some Wake Tech numbers. I don't have numbers for the surrounding.
Well, Catherine, that would help. I would love to hear Wake Tech numbers.
Okay, and I've got to put my hands on them because I had them this morning. Let me see. What did I do with them? Golly, what a day. Let me pull them up. We've got, I mean, it's in the hundreds. We've got, currently we have 4 different program options that are available. And where in the world, what did I do? I came back from a meeting with them all. Oh, here it is. Okay, so in the early childhood, as an example, in the diploma, we currently have 88 students enrolled in the early childhood. Oh, excuse me, that's a certificate. In B through K, we've got 251 students enrolled. in that particular option.
Can you say that again,
Yeah.
Catherine? What was that number?
251.
Thank you.
And we've got, in the diploma, we've got 107 enrolled. And the non-teaching licensure, we've got 45. In the career track, we've got 369. And essentially, it's just a very few that are still left over from years ago before we divided into tracks. We've only got about 26. So.
Very helpful. Thank you for sharing those numbers. And so I actually, so I also put, again, like the interest form in here, and and just for John's sanity, if we could like use that interest form, and as a group, we're all meeting together and gonna work through this. And so then we can share with John, like who's interested, and then, you know, those kind of things. So I'm gonna tag back in there, and I'm seeing lots of interest. So again, this is sooner than later. So we're really trying to make this happen quickly. Yes, go ahead, Gail.
No, I was just going to say that I would ask that those of you who are on this call, please share this information with other providers. We really want to have as many providers in Wake County who are interested to participate. As I stated at the beginning, Wake County Smart Start is interested in supporting in both the areas of compensation and pipeline, and the more providers that are participating in this apprenticeship helps us all with the pipeline issues that that is being experienced.
Thank you.
Lynn, do you want to put in your contact number?
Yes, I should.
Yeah,
I'll be glad to. I can't type and let me say what I was going to say first. No, that's okay. I forgot what it was. Sorry. But yes, if you have any questions. We are recording today. So I will actually share that back out with the full community. So the recording today, and and listen to it again if you need to. And then the interest form as well. So like Gail said, please share this out. If you have any questions, my contact information is going to be in the chat box in just a second.
So I think people are probably going, look at these numbers. Where are all of these people who are interested in pursuing this career? How do I get a hold of those people? Please use apprenticeship as your conduit to early access to talent. Get in front of these students by using pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship as early access to this talent and this workforce development pool. Because if they don't know who you are, and they don't know that you have a program that's already established, that has a progressive wage scale, it has the related technical instruction that they need to follow, and they have a career path, which they can see by looking at the competency checklist, it makes everything very clear for those potential employees, because this is the only place they really can get a roadmap that puts it all together for them, and to know that the financial barrier has been minimized, if not totally eliminated, for their education while they're earning. So think of it as a conduit, your way to get at these students in the high schools and here at Wake Tech.
So Lynn and John, if it's okay with you, I'd like to say what I think might be the next steps, and then you guys just jump in and correct if I'm off.
Sounds wonderful.
Timeline. So if you all can reply to the interest form that Lynn supplied in the next week or two. Here's the thing about the interest form. It's not like some subscription that you have to go back and cancel. It really is an interest form. You're not held to any legal contract by sending in the interest form. It just lets us know who to reach out to and how to continue to work with this cohort of providers and centers as we move forward. So Lynn can share that interest back with John and the small work team that has been meeting about this before today. And then we will work together to reach out to you to craft what that education program might look like and or your competency checklist might look like. And once that has been determined, then we're ready to go ahead, John, I wish I could see your head nodding, John, and make application with the state to go ahead and get a program registered. And then we can think about how we better connect, or the next steps to connecting the pipeline of students at Wake Tech and at the school system with you all as providers under the registered apprenticeship. And that's a whole nother conversation, but I think a much easier one. So I think that's probably, now I can see John, maybe he'll nod at me. I think that's probably where we are in terms of timeline and steps.
Thank you. That was perfect, Joanne.
Thank you, Joe.
There's another question from Veronica.
Hi, thank you. You know, more than a question, because I'm hearing all this like about the technical things and specification and everything. And this is a plea basically to help us simplify when we get this, like the younger ones or the ones that have less experience, because one of my hitting the wall with keeping people here is they can make much more money that I can afford to pay working at Costco without so many hours of training and little hints and links, and I'm just losing. Literally, I tell you, I hope Costco opens a daycare soon because they're getting everybody. It's just easier. They pay handsomely. They have, I don't know, and they don't have so many requirements here. As soon as I tell them you have to take all these many classes, whether it's in Moodle or here, or I offer them in person or whatever, they are already at school. They don't want to hear more about that. So it's just one thing to consider in this apprenticeship thing. Okay, that's
I
all
think
for
that's
me.
a great point, and I appreciate you bringing that up, because I know that's what we're fighting against right now. And how to work through that is exactly where we are. So thank you for bringing that up, Veronica. I know we've gone a little over, so if anybody has any questions, again, I'm Lynn, and I put my email information in the chat box, so feel free, and please, we'll reach out very soon from the interest forms after we meet and figure out and like walk through those next steps. So we really appreciate all y'all being here, and we hopefully we feel hopeful today after seeing all this interest. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone.